You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, another great week. Last week we had all these Facebook issues, but Josh, you say we have these all worked out?
Good news, we are live on Facebook.
We're live on Facebook?
Yeah,
I guess I'll be getting it pretty soon. I don't have it quite yet, but I'll get it. I usually get it a little bit after y'all show us booked up. But anyway, live on Facebook. All right, so it'll be on the various other pages as well. Busy week, there I am. But all right, I'm just going to do a little sharing in a minute. I got my phone on. See, I've been doing this 6.5 years, and I still do that. I have my volume on. I have Rod Lewis here. He has a new venture called the Burleson News Express, and we're going to talk about what it's going to try to happen for the community, how you can get hold of this, when it's going to be delivered, process, what possessed him. Did he go suddenly insane? Whatever. Things of that nature. So how you doing, Rod?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
No, it's fine. Yeah, well, we're going to ask about your background as well and all these other things that are going on. It's a busy time for us both. And at the end, I have a few programming notes. I need Josh, so don't let me forget that. And also the Next Step business. They have a diaper drive going on starting today, and so on. And I tend to get on my own little world and in my own head, and I forget these important things. But before I do that, let's talk about the sponsors. A couple of which you've now met. All right, Our Place Restaurant, Auto. I believe that's how you got a hold of my name. Thank you, Otto. But you walk in there. He said, I got this enterprise going, and he said you might want to get it connected here, and here you are, right?
Well, it's a little longer than that.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you. I've obviously been like most Burlesonians. Mm-hmm. I enjoy eating at Our Place Restaurant, mm-hmm. and when I'm in there, Otto comes by and we started talking, and we'd mm-hmm. been in there so many times that I noticed a little accent from him. He's from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
That's the meanest part of town,
Jim Croce thinks so.
If you go down there, you better beware.
Josh has no idea what we're doing. That's an old song. That was like probably when your parents were, teenagers.
Jim Croce, your parents jammed out to that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway.
Yeah. So I noticed his accent, and we started talking, and eventually we got to the point where we were pretty good friends, mm-hmm. as far as people go mm-hmm. that are in business. So one day I went to Gina's Pizza, and I found him there. And I'm like, dude, all right. I was born in Cicero, Illinois. So we were like neighbors. And the first time I went to Gina's, he made me a Midwest-style pizza, mm-hmm. which I'd been craving for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we started talking about Chicago, and we started talking about the Midwest. And then after several times of talking, I gave him the paper, and I did a story for him. And he said, there's a guy I know. And that's when he mentioned you to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow.
Well, yeah, I've known Otto. Became a sponsor about, getting close to 5 years ago. And that's the first time I met him, and I liked him immediately because I walked in and I said, here, I'll give him the sales pitch and all that, and goes, after about 30 seconds, well, I like it. Boom, throws a check on the table. Wow, that's why I like to do business. And we spent most of the time talking about the music he likes, which is that Chicago blues, which I like a lot too. Yeah. I got a pretty good collection of that as well on the recording devices here. But so that I always recommend Gina's is a good place to do business in the evening because it's quiet, nobody bugs you. You get a decent pizza and a beer and whatnot. Also, if you're going to do your morning business, I do it at Our Place. And our little Sunday school group of men who try to solve all the world's problems, we usually meet on Thursdays. We're going to start meeting on Wednesdays to accommodate me, but that's them. But here's somebody that you also met at the last time you came to our B&I meeting, John Williams of Old Pro Roofing. And he's a very fine young man. He really is. He's very, very good at his job. I believe he won Salesman of the Year last year. And you can get a hold of him at 817-734-2756. I want to say Salesman of the Year. It isn't because he's so slick and smooth. It's because he tells you the truth. And people trust him. And they say, he'll come and inspect your roof or nothing. And if he says you're good to go, you're good to go. He's not going to, give you some song and dance and that you need a new roof or whatever else. And plus, Old Pro Roofing is hometown folks. They're about a block from City Hall, and it's good to do business locally. I'm sure Alex Phillips will agree to that. You probably need to meet Alex Phillips. He's our economic development guy. That'd be a good appointment to make, and because Alex knows all, doesn't tell all, doggone him, but I have him on the show about once every 3 or 4 months, and we talk about business development in Burleson, and that would be a good person to talk to because he can not only send you directions like Otto sent you to me, but he can also send you to other potential either advertisers or distributors or whatever. Anyway, back to John, since he's paying for this, 817-734-2756. Also, another B&I fellow that you could have met, hope you did meet last Wednesday, Jeff Kelly at the Weddington Agency. He's now the 4th most popular real estate guy, apparently, so we're good to go on that. 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. He has a lot going on. He has a lot of things in sale. Also, we got a couple of guys, viewers. Do you know what Christy Levenhagen? She just saw what you were talking about, I guess. I thought maybe a friend of yours, but she's no friend of ours now. And Kelly Alexander, she's watching.
Hi, Kelly.
You know Kelly?
Kelly's important in the Harvest House ministries.
She's critical. She is the linchpin. Without her, it all falls apart.
And she seems like a very wonderful person, but don't tell her.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We just told the whole community, but how do you know her?
I met her, I believe the first time I met her was at the Lions Club.
Okay. Oh, yeah, she does that.
And then I see her quite a bit at the Chamber.
Chamber, yeah. And so, in fact, tomorrow night they have a Chamber event that I had planned on going because it was going to be at Moretti's Oil, which I love. But like I said, I'm going to be in Dallas most of the week, and so I'm going to have to miss that. But Moretti's Oil, if you've ever been in there, they have tremendous different types of olive oils and vinegars and whatnot. Plus, they have a little side thing of popcorn. Well, I don't know how side it is. It's a big part of their business. So it's a lot of fun. So you got to go.
I'm planning on going, and found out that Lisa Schwartz is the owner of that. She does the Crazy 8 Ministries as well.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for paying for all that free promo for everybody else. But there you go. He's a good sport. All right. Let's just start from the beginning. Is this journalism like a career for you, or is this like I want to do something different in my life kind of thing, and I'm going to jump into this?
Thank you for asking that question. Mm-hmm. When I was in college, I was a double major. I majored in music and in mass communication. And when I got out, I went off into other things, and I didn't do really either or until I was probably, after I finished my graduate degree at Webster, I moved to Florida. And I started working with the Lake Placid Journal in Lake Placid, Florida. And I'll tell you what, Matt Delaney was the editor there. And if you're watching, Matt,
okay,
you are the best editor in the entire universe. Great editor.
And he taught you all about how to be an editor and a publisher then, right?
He taught me, he taught me a lot. And I worked with him, and I worked at the Highlands News Sun as well. And doing this, and I'm sure with your podcast, it's the same thing with you. If you had to do this, the only thing in your entire life is this, then you'd be a happy man.
Well, I'd be a lot less stressed because I got Josh on the controls over there, and it's all good.
Well, I don't have a Josh, but I still... When I'm doing this, if I could do this, the only thing in the entire world, I would. When I came to Burleson, I wanted to continue this.
What brought you to Burleson? Because you're not native to Burleson, so what brought you here?
Well, I have a brother that lives here.
Oh, okay.
And when my life kind of fell apart in Florida.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Well, it gave me a fresh start here, and I still love Florida. Love everything about Florida. But there's something about Texas that once you get to Texas, you're a Texan.
You're darn tootin'.
Yeah, I got my cowboy belt on.
Yeah, I
I got
saw
my
that.
boots, and I've got my.
Got your hat. You're good to
I
go.
got my hat.
You're good to go.
Yeah, I'm all about Texas, and I'm all about Burleson now. So when I moved to Burleson, when the first thing I did was I had my resume dusted off, and now I had my writing samples and pictures, and I had everything ready to go. I went to the Burleson Star, and I said I actually won an award for the second Seminole War story that I did for the Lake Placid Journal, and when I came here, I was expecting to do some work here at the Burleson Star. The guy said it was. I think it was his name, Dan Taylor.
Dan Taylor. Okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking that was you, but I didn't want to throw it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went into Dan, and he was just closing up shop when I came in. So when I went into the office, I was pretty disappointed, and I waited for somebody to start the business. I waited for somebody to start a newspaper in Burleson because Burleson's a big town. We need a newspaper.
Yeah, absolutely we do.
And I waited for somebody to do it, and nobody did it.
Well, in part, that's what spawned the podcast back in September 19, because by then the Burleson Star was on its way out, and if not all the way out, and we had no means of getting information out locally. And that's how I started this show, really, was me ranting about Trump's latest outrage or Pelosi's latest indignation or whatever. Okay. And it kind of morphed into more and more public affairs, a lot of nonprofits and whatever else. And didn't also have the mayor, have Victoria Johnson, I've had several other council members, some school board members, on and on, right? Because we don't have a means except, social media. And that's, for a lot of people, social media is just toxic to them because, people, you put something out there and some wise guy gets on there and takes a conversation some other direction.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons. The other reason was my wife wanted me out of the house. I just retired from teaching every day in the classroom. Yeah. And I just was starting with DBU, and she said, you need to do something. And so here we are. So this is, I understand what your motivation is.
Yeah. So after several years of nobody doing the print media, my brother and I were talking about it, and I'm like, dude, I really like to do the interviews. I like to write. I like doing that. And he looks at me real funny. He goes, Rod, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm waiting on for somebody to start the business so I can work for him. And he looked at me, and he had one of those looks, and he goes, Rod, what are you waiting on? And I'm like, I'm waiting on for somebody to start a business so that I can work for him. He goes, Roderick.
Yeah.
And when he calls me by my name, I know. So he goes, what are you waiting on? And I'm like, okay. So then I got started with it, and once it started going, it was like, oh yeah, I needed to do this 5 years ago.
Well, it's been tough, to try to maintain a daily or weekly presence in a local media like that. I mean, Burleson Star is not the only one. The Star Telegram, I don't think even prints anymore. It's all online.
Really?
Yeah, and the Dallas Morning News only prints on Wednesdays and Sundays, and it's all online. And you have major communities that don't have a daily newspaper except online. Like I read last month, the Atlanta Constitution Journal, one of the oldest newspapers in the South, is now no print. Same thing with Denver, same thing with Seattle. They don't have a print newspaper. And for us here in Burleson, it has been a problem because, for advertisers and for local news, I've had the mayor on numerous times, and one of the things that really kind of stresses him a little bit is that they want to get the news out about what the city's doing, what the plans are, what the options are, all that other stuff. And they have to spend half their time trying to get the word out, and the other half their time trying to rebut all the, the exaggeration, shall we say, of what they're doing. Some of the false information out there. And you've probably met the mayor already, I bet.
I've seen the mayor. Actually, one of my beat is the city council. So I see him, and then I've done stories for the art studio, Russell Farm.
Russell Farm, that's a good
I
one.
did a thing for Russell Farm. He was there, so I got a picture of him there, and I get a. He's in the.
Well, we have a newspaper. I have one now, and this is the one that we put on there, Burleson City Employee of the Year. So there you have the entire city council on there, and so and I struggle against the same thing you do in a sense because people have now become so ingrained with social media that when I approach them about sponsorships, they say, well, I could get on Facebook for free. And I tell them nothing beats personal recommendations, period. All right? Nothing beats the permanence or at least more permanent than something like this. Or, when I talk about a podcast, they're archived and whatever else. Whereas a Facebook ad is here today and gone tomorrow. And that's probably what, to be frank, that's probably what you're going to come up against is people say, well, I do this, that, and the other on social media, and you're great. So you're throwing it out there and hoping it gets it, whereas this is targeted towards the Burleson consumer.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because it's interesting that not too long ago, one of my nieces came in, and she wanted some pictures of my brother because he was celebrating a big birthday. And
what's your brother's name, by the way?
I have several brothers.
Okay.
I'm actually the fifth of five.
How about that?
And my oldest brother, Andy, we lost him a year ago on December 25th.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But my brother Terry lives in West Texas, and my brother Ken is the one I'm crashing with right now.
Right.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate all the help you give me. And my brother Bill lives in Midlothian. So I've got 4 brothers. And sis, hi.
You have a sister?
My sister, Carolyn, is Andy's wife.
Okay.
And they got married when I was about 11. So she's the closest thing to a sister. And
sure,
she's been part of the family almost before me. So kudos to her for putting up with us.
Putting up with you. Yeah, I know the drill.
Yeah.
But as far as, so your background, you said you've already discussed, you did this for a living or whatever. Your brother finally prodded you into doing it. What steps did you have to take to get from the idea to this?
Okay. Well, let me talk about that in just a second. I need to go back to something that you mentioned.
Okay, wait.
Just a minute ago. You mentioned the permanence of the paper. And that's one of the things that you were saying, that people are in the immediacy of the Facebook thing. My niece came in to get some pictures. And so my brother got out his albums, and I noticed one of the albums that looked really familiar. It was an album that belonged to my mother. And when he started going through the pictures, he's like, "Oh, Rod, this one's of you. What do you think of that?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he went and he turned some more pages, and he had a picture. It wasn't a picture. It was a clipping from the Pike Press when I was 18 years old, and I was shooting a basket for the basketball team. I played basketball in high school, small school. So and I was a lot taller in high school. So
okay.
Yeah. So it got a picture of that, and a picture of my senior picture as the Pike Press did the whole student body. All 29 of us that graduated that year. And Mom had those clippings.
Yeah.
So when people say that I can get the same thing off on Facebook and on the social media, it's not the same.
Well, it's ironic.
There's a difference.
You bring it up because my wife is now have a little more time on her hands than she used to, and she's been going through a lot of old photos of our kids and whatever. Yeah. And we have clippings from the Burleson Star for when, my son's soccer team, 5th grade soccer team or 4th grade soccer team did this, that, or the other, or my daughter was like in the musical, and we kept those clippings and that kind of thing. So that's part of it. I think a lot of it also I've found to my, one of the obstacles I've had to overcome is that a lot of people think that they need to get in these contracts with somebody's going to do the work for them, but they can't. But they have to do the work themselves. I mean, I have a friend that's involved in that, and she's a good friend, and she does a great service. But you got to do more than that.
Yeah.
Just to give Dee Dee Simpson a shout out, she does great work to getting your word out. But you got to do more than that. You can't just have a social media presence. You need to have a physical presence. And so I hope I'm glad that this is around. I do know of another attempt to do this. Burleson Buzz, a young man was trying to do this, but it wasn't so much that he couldn't make it work, but family obligations. All right, he's a young man, and he's had 2 children. They're so very young, and apparently, that's going to take some time. I understand, plus a full-time job and all that. So he's had to put that on hiatus. That's somebody you may want to visit with. I can give you a list of people to talk to about how to get your word out, or how to let them know of your availability and what you could do for them, that kind of thing. We can do that after the show, because if I say, go this guy or that guy, I'm obligating that guy.
Right.
So I don't really want to do that, but I can tell you afterwards. But it's a lot more work than this. This process is a lot more work than just putting a social post up.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us the process about that.
Okay. There's actually several different processes that go into this. And when I was taking organizational communication in college, it introduced me to social systems management.
Right.
And systems management is that you have all these different inputs, and you have each output, and each of the different outputs coalesce at the end to form the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into this, it doesn't really make a lot of sense when you just look at the paper and you say, okay, well, you just wrote a paper. But there's the systems that go into it, because there's the writing of it, and along with the writing is the photography, we're calling it photojournalism right now. So the writing the story and the picture is one aspect of it, but then there's the editing, there's the layout, and that's all on the editorial side. Also finding the stories and getting everything together for that side of it is a job all into itself. Then there's another side of it is the circulation side, getting it out to the people,
Right.
and getting it out to the places where it needs to go. And
so right now, it's you have a distribution system of you give retailers or or hair salons, whomever, a handful, and they could be picked up at by their customers and whatnot. That's a really pretty good way to do things to get started, get people aware that it is out there. Like, I'm looking at another issue you had here, and it has the obituary of an old time Burleson favorite, Kay Godby. She'd been here for a long time, and so and unfortunately she's passed, and so this kind of permanent obituary is something that her family could save, right? And I'm not really big into all this, meme coin or non-fungible trends. What do you want to talk about, Josh?
Don't look at me.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. All this crypto, and all this other crap. That you can buy stuff and you keep it like a photograph. And who cares about that? You want that. You want something in your hands. And it also, I didn't want to put this particular picture up there because it's got 3 mugshots of human trafficking, but it's important because human trafficking comes to Johnson County. People don't know this. Or if they see it on Facebook, it's almost at the point now, is this really legit or not? Because there's so much AI crap, or people like to stir the pot and they put something out there that is half true, quarter true, whatever else, and people take it and run with it. I think there is still, regardless of what people say, some sort of internal legitimacy bias towards the printed page, right?
the problem that we're facing right now in media is that they're just not credible. They've let editorial ideas, editorial features or whatever creep into hard news. And I did a paper back in MediaCom back when I think George Bush was president. And when you fact check the media, you find biases that are incredible. One of my instructor for that class said, I lean just a little bit to the left. And I said, well, if you tell people that you lean a little bit to the left, then you're probably laying on the floor on the left side. And if you tell people that you lean a little bit to the right, then you're probably the same way. You're probably all the way to the right. When I write, I have my personal biases. I have my personal ideas. But when I write, when I do the paper, you don't know if I'm left or right. And I like it that way. And that's the way media should be. When you're talking about news, it shouldn't start out with an editorial statement.
Well, you're probably aware that last week the Washington Post laid off about 300 reporters and other employees, and people are screaming and hollering how this is the end of democracy. There's a reason why Washington Post has declined in circulation. And I subscribe to Post. So I subscribe to about 7 different journals and dailies because of the nature of the show. And I go from the liberal New York Times, and boy, you were talking about bias, okay, all the way to the National Review and Wall Street Journal. So I try to cover the spectrum. And, and the Post is among them. A few years ago, outside of George Will or the late Charles Krauthammer, you didn't have any conservative columnists. Now it's much more spread out, but a lot of their journalists said, well, I'm not going to work for some right-wing mag or rag like this, and they left. I'm like, the Washington Post will never be considered right-wing on its worst day. And so what are you talking about? So it's, but I mean, I'm just seeing this a lot in the news. And here you are kind of going against the tide.
Well, that's, again, that's an interesting point, and I'm glad you brought that up as well. Because the trends for the national media, they're going way down. Now, I worked, like I said, I worked for the Lake Placid Journal. I worked for the Sebring, or the Highland News Sun, and they're owned by a corporation, Sun Media, Sun Coast Media, and the owner of that at the time was Derek Dunn Rankin. His son is now at the helm, but their media, they went from all the way from like Haines City almost all the way down to West Palm. And I might be not accurate on the exact thing, but they had a big swath of Central Florida, and they still do, that they own. And it's all local papers. The local paper is the one bright spot in the media right now, because local papers like what we're doing here with the Burleson News Express, we're not dealing with left and right per se, because the politics of the nation, that's relevant for Burleson, but what the city council does is more relevant.
Amen to that. I mean, that's one of the things you probably know that I teach government classes, and I tell the kids in those classes that, we all focus on Trump and Congress and all the hair pulling and the drama, but really it's the daily grind of governing that's really you need to pay attention to, because they're, city council, school board, county, they're the ones going to affect your taxes, or state of Texas, things like that. We got these primaries coming up, and they're going to be very lightly voted in. We have elections, by the way, in Burleson, but Friday is the deadline to sign up. And as it stands right now, I don't believe there's any competitive races. Are all, the incumbents have all declared, but I don't think they have any opponents. I may be wrong on that because I haven't checked it in the last 3 or 4 days. But
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, but I haven't. Normally when somebody announces they're going to run, there is some sort of announcement on social media of some sort. And so in school board, I've been here since early 90s, so 35 years, and I would say more than half, 65%. Of school board races are usually, one candidate only, incumbent or something like that. That bugs me. And I think part of the other thing is this newspaper could be a lot of help to somebody that's running for office, because I'm sure you could use the content to have them come in and do an extended interview. And I try to do that with the candidates. I've been trying to get Helen Kerwin and I back on the same page. She was going to be on last week, and weather issues took that out. And next week the guys are in Nashville, so that week's out. So we'll see what we can do. But anyway, this would be a real value, I believe, to both school and city.
Yeah, I've chatted chatted with Representative Kerwin as well. She seems like a very nice lady.
She's very nice. Yeah. I mean, I've only met her on the phone, so to speak.
Yeah.
And she's always very sweet and all that. And I don't, as far as my political opinions, I'll save them for her. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. But, another group that I like to deal with is the Joshua School system. And since a third of the Joshua school districts in the city of Burleson would cover your area, you can talk with them a lot because a lot of the growth is in West Burleson, Joshua ISD. And we have this huge development coming up, Chisholm Trail development.
Yeah. And that's all going to the Joshua School District.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've got it on my agenda. I was going to do that this week on our new edition, the next edition that we're putting out. We're going to move a little bit. We're going to shift a little bit of our focus and incorporate Joshua and Crowley in a little bit, as much as we can.
Will you keep the same name?
We're going to keep the same name because it's still going to be the Burleson News Express.
Right.
But we're going to cover some things in Joshua, including I want to get involved with schools. I want to get involved with even like you mentioned the obituary that we had for the city manager. Obituaries need to be in the paper.
Right.
I've contacted some funeral homes to get the obituaries. I'm still working on things and still growing it. But this paper wants to be a full-fledged 8-page. I want to go to 8 pages here as soon as the funding and the resources get there. And
well, here on the left-hand column, you have customer service. You have 2 phone numbers.
Right.
Which one should they be calling, the 863 number or the 682 number?
682 is the best number to call for that.
So he says circulation, complaints. Hope you hadn't had many of those, certainly. Editorial. Are you going to add editorials to your paper?
Eventually, yeah.
Are you going to write them yourself?
I can.
Or you can get guest writers, maybe.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when you're doing something like this. When somebody writes most of this stuff, then it becomes almost a pattern because you write a certain way. You write like you talk.
Right.
And you can write about different things, but it's going to be the same perspective. And when you have somebody else having a perspective, the more different perspectives or the more different writers you have, the more interesting it is.
Well, yes, but with Burleson politics, not so much in the internal stuff, just national. You've got some people that have some pretty strong feelings both ways about Mr. Trump, about Congress, about Mr. Abbott. And is that something you want to put out there? Is that the kind of stuff that could alienate potentially some readers, or you want to say, no, this is a newspaper and we publish opinions?
If it's an opinion, then it's an opinion. Everyone can have their opinions. When there's different aspects of news media, and the hard news is obviously hard news. When you state a fact, it has to be a fact. When you have the opinion section, then you can. That's what most of the media today is opinions. Yeah. So there's a spot for it, but it's not going to be the focus of the paper.
Well, I read the opinion sections of most of the papers I've mentioned, and a lot of the stuff I subscribe to are opinion-related periodicals and journals, whatever. But I know what I'm reading. I mean, I know if I'm going to read George Will, it's going to be conservative. If I'm going to read this particular writer, it's going to be somewhat liberal. And so it's kind of like, all right, I've already prepared for it.
Right.
The thing about what's really happened, and I think it's unfortunate, is that they call the siloing of news consumption. Where people just like, I don't want to even hear anything that's pro or anti-Trump anymore, and so they that's all they'll listen to is what they already agree with. Right. And I try to make it a point. I mean, I don't agree with the New York Times very much at all, but I want to know what they're saying because I can't bellyache about what they're saying if I don't know what they're saying. So
exactly.
But I can tell you right now, that's putting politics in the paper. It's like so many people have shut themselves off from the other side that it's hard to break through and have the kind of conversations we need to have as a country. You know, I look at my own Facebook page, you know, and I see people put stuff about for Trump or against Trump, and I try to leave that alone because I don't want to get in that silo.
Right.
But there's been a couple of times I've had to say I can't deal with this person.
Right.
Because they're just off the chain one way or the other. You know, I've had to block some on the far right and some on the far left.
That means you're doing a good job.
I guess so. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't get as much as I used to. I mean, because the city politics has calmed down quite a bit in the last 2 or 3 years. And so when it was a bit more feisty, shall we say, I had some more commentary. And I think some of the people then said, I don't need this Allard guy in my life. And they shut me off 3 years ago. So I don't get a lot of that as much. So, and that's, I guess, a blessing. I mean, the numbers are still roughly the same in terms of views and usage or whatever else, but still, I think it's unfortunate that people won't buckle up and actually listen to something that may contradict what they already believe.
Right. I like the Dolly Parton model when it comes.
I like Dolly Parton, so there you go.
Well, and why do you like Dolly Parton?
She sings good. She's good looking.
All right. Yeah. And she doesn't say anything that's really offensive.
Not really.
No,
she doesn't at all.
Yeah, she's the model that I said, the Dolly Parton model. I heard her say when somebody mentioned politics to her or something like that, she goes, "Why would I alienate half of the people that come to me?" She said, "Republicans and Democrats both spend money.
That's right.
And I'm not going to cut off half of my opportunities just to make a point." The paper's the same way. If we're talking about editorial, it's okay to have an editorial in there, but it has to be balanced. If you're gonna if you're gonna have if I put somebody that leans right into the paper, then somebody that leans left needs to be in the paper as well to balance it out.
Well, it's kind of interesting you mentioned Dolly Parton. Michael Jordan got the same response because they were saying, Michael Jordan, you need to be more active, more vocal. You're a leader, your opinion can sway people. And he says, hey, Republicans buy shoes too.
Right.
And so, because he's, representing Nike, I believe, but, that kind of thing. And I even read the actress Jennifer Lawrence say something along those lines. She says, yeah, I got very strong opinions, but, I want everybody to come to the movies, so that kind of stuff. And, and it's not a big deal for people to know you have strong opinions. It's just, how do you present them? Are you willing to listen? And are you willing to adjust what you think in light of new evidence or persuasion? And if you're not willing to do that, then you're kind of an unpleasant person to be around, to be frank. I know a couple of people like that you couldn't convince them to sign their own stay of execution. If, and if Trump told them not to or to do it, they would, just because of that, they wouldn't, cooperate. Right. I think that's just a dumb way to do business.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're going to be doing it. I read stuff, I don't read the letters very often, but I've read letters in the Dallas Morning News on Sunday that were not complimentary of the morning news. Right. But they put it in there. Is that going to be your policy also?
Well, absolutely. If it's news, it's news. Well, and there's a professionalism that says
these are letters from the consumers. These aren't necessarily experts,
right?
But I remember also I read Texas Monthly, which is I really enjoy. I like it for the recipes because I like to cook and they have always good stories. Now it is a left leaning magazine, but I don't. So what? I mean, it isn't going to affect my brain that much. But they have really good articles, and it's the only periodical I look at the ads because they have really nice ads. But they publish letters. They'll say, "You communist, left wing knuckleheads," or whatever, and they'll put them right there in the letter section. So, Now, as far as here, he says, join our team. You're looking for a writer, a night and weekend available, of course, because that's when all the news happens, right?
A lot of it.
Well, a lot of it does. I mean, all the sporting events and, big nonprofit things, night and weekend available. And when you say able to write an AP style, I'm an old AP teacher. You don't mean advanced placement, do you?
No, not Associated Press.
Okay. Well, see, when I saw AP, hey, that's what I did. No, you need to take photos, take accompanying photo, available to travel to event, able to write effectively, And what you would like to see in an applicant is a bachelor's degree in journalism or communication or English or related field, superb research and writing skills, creative and inquiring mind, strong interpersonal communication skills, able to maintain an ethical, honest, and objective standard in reporting. You're not asking for much. I mean, really. What is this, Clark Kent you're asking for? I mean, it's a lot right there.
Well, I live with Clark. He's my brother.
I guess. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
He even wears glasses. So.
But if y'all hear this or you know somebody that might want to do this, it doesn't necessarily need to be some kid, right? It could be somebody in a second career. Yeah. And, said, or semi-retired and I, want to do something. You contacted the phone number here. The number is 682-366. Say it again. I got something caught. I want to say it again. 682-366-0705 or burlesoneditor@gmail.com. So if y'all hear somebody or if you yourself want to do this, this may be something, for... We're not talking about 50 hours a week, though, are we?
Oh, no. The position that I'm looking for is actually a stringer position.
Right.
And that is basically you write a story and you get paid for the story.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple other periodicals and local stuff that do that write, pay people for articles. I mean, there's one... Local Life magazine. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, yeah. It's a great addition to Burleson.
Right. And so she pays writers.
Yeah.
I don't know about Burleson now. I don't really have much dealings with them. So I don't really know their structure. I don't even know who to talk to. And you go back to another point we made before. You talk about how that area of Florida had news coverage. We used to have Crowley Star, Joshua Star, Burleson Star, Alvarado Star, and a lot of there's overlaps in the stories sometimes.
Right.
But now they're all gone, and the only printed page is the Cleveland Times Review, and I think it only comes out Wednesdays.
And I'm not going to spread that because I don't know that for sure, but I've heard something about the Cleveland.
Well, I don't know much about them either. Yeah. I've only talked to them like one time since I've been doing this. Now, as far as the distribution, it comes out when?
It's a weekly, and we bring out. It comes out on Mondays. Mm-hmm. We bring it out. In fact, we're taking it out today, and going through the. We've got 23. The next question you're going to ask is where.
Yeah, right.
And we've got 23 spots now.
Well, I'm just looking here. It's 6. So Unchained Hair Salon. Lost Oak Winery, that's a good place.
It is good.
A lot of people like that. I don't know.
The wine is great there.
Yeah, it is. I don't know the hair salon people. I'm sure they're wonderful too.
They are.
The library, the senior activity center, Lizzie's Lunchbox, that's another good joint. Yeah. I mean, it's just a drive through, get yourself a really decent meal.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that there's anybody in this paper that I find even mediocre.
Yeah.
Everybody that we have our things, and they have just been wonderful to me. They've been absolutely fantastic.
Lizzie's is kind of a very popular lunch spot.
Yeah.
Burleson Chamber of Commerce, of course. Now, where are some of the other places they can pick this up?
There's let's see, those the Senior Activity Center. We've got let's see. We've got the Russell Farms. There's some at the Russell Farms. We've got it at Wilshire Senior Living. We've got it at restaurants. I see. We've got it at Gina's Pizza.
Yeah, I figured. I was going to say if Aldo hasn't got on board, I'll smack him around. But I figured he would. He's very good about that.
Yeah.
I could think of several other places. I get my car inspected over at Christian Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And they have a nice little sitting area. Right. And I've seen magazines. I've seen Local Life there. That might be a good place. Things like that. When people are waiting on a service, other smaller retailers, it doesn't hurt, particularly if they have an ad in the paper. And that's another thing. You have to go shake them down, so to speak. And we're not in some massive depression, but times are tight.
Yeah.
I've lost sponsors, not because they're unhappy with the content at all. They do it regretfully, but they have to cut costs somewhere.
Right.
And so there you go.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because part of the the challenge of doing this is the advertisers. And when we were talking about the systems, when you do most of the writing, when you do most of the editing, when you do most of the layout, when you do most of the putting it out, all of that, and you work part time, that doesn't allow a lot of time to go out and get ads, to go out and specifically try to fund the paper.
Right.
So it's a challenge.
Right. Right now it's free, but you will start charging at a certain point.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Right.
I'd like to eat.
Right. So you're going to maybe, develop some sort of subscription policy and stuff like that. And, and would you send it in the mail, I guess, or if they subscribe, or because I don't know what your operating plan is, but I just wondered if in the future, because the Burleson Star used to have places you could buy them at, and then they started doing it through the mail strictly. And I just wonder if you're going to go that route.
Well, we're looking at a couple of different models. One of the models is like what you were talking about with the Burleson Now and the Burleson, the other one, Live. I think it was Burleson Life,
Now.
Burleson Life.
Well, Local Life.
It's Local Life.
Local Life, yeah.
Those two. The way I understand it is that they advertise through it and they send it out at no charge.
No, to the consumer.
The consumer.
No. They I don't know Burleson how they do it, but I know Tiffany over at Local Life, basically it's the advertisement that pays for the production and the delivery.
Right.
Okay. And so and so she goes and tries to get advertisers, et cetera, and she has some long term. And she's also Chamber of Commerce and her are now putting together like an annual, if you will, like a directory as such. And if you're a member of the chamber, you'll have it. You'll have an entry there. Now, if you want like an advertisement, that's a whole other deal. And I talked to Melissa Miller last week about that. So, so that's kind of an idea maybe you want to approach.
Yeah, that's one of the models that I'm looking at is having it advertiser funded and sending it out like that. Another model is selling it through like Walmart and the big box stores and getting it that way. I'm not sure which way we're headed right now.
Well, when the farmers markets, both the Burleson and the Crowley ones open, and run by the same guy, Chaz Forster, you might want to talk to him about getting a table. I don't know how. It's hard to get a table at the Burleson one because there's so many that want a piece of the action, but a lot of them are duplicates, and they'll only have like one or two of a certain product or service there. Nobody else is doing this, I promise you. Maybe you can spend a Saturday or a Sunday at the Crowley one, which has more space, handing these out, whatever. That would be a good way to get in front of the people. Also, you get all these other events, the city-related events. We have a chamber event, by the way. I think you might want to consider. Josh, we have that promo, don't we? See, he's already on top of it. He hears where I'm going, and he just says, "Okay, February 21st. If you wanted to, you can contact Melissa or Candace over at the chamber, and there's a certain fee for there's a fee for members and a fee for non-members, so it's not free to the vendors. Now, if you just wanted to show up and look around, it'd be great, but they frown on people freelancing in their event, right? So I would not I don't think they would like it if you came by with a big stack of papers and started handing out to everybody without having a table. But if you had a table, you can give as many newspapers as you want. So I would call them and see about getting a table out because our BNI group and some of the members within the BNI group use this, and this is probably one of the best ways of getting our name out in the public because it's well attended. It's over at Pathway Church, and so I highly recommend you talk to Melissa and see what kind of deal you got going on over there. Again, I don't know the cost because Greg Williams handles that for us. Yeah, and so I don't want to just throw numbers out there, but I could promise you this right here will get your newspaper a lot of notice. And so, also, as far as like that network at night tomorrow at Moretti's, That's what it's for, is to network, all right? That's why they call it such. And so you can come by with a few of these and give them out, and it's no big deal. I mean, that's what everybody's doing. I mean, the focus is on Moretti's, but everybody's giving their cards out and stuff like that.
Yeah, for most of the chamber events, I bring a stack of papers. And it's interesting. We've been doing it since, we've been doing this format, hot and heavy, since mid-December. We had a one-page page that we did sporadically, just testing the market and seeing how it worked. But since we've been doing this, it's amazing. I just got a message from a person in Stephenville who'd heard about our paper and is interested in it. So, well, it's getting out.
It's getting out there
slowly, but
it's going to take a while. I hate to tell you that. You'd like to think everything just jumps, right immediately into success. I remember the first couple of months I was doing this podcast. I thought, what am I doing? I mean, I was getting like 40 views or less, and not much response. But now it's stabled out, and plus we have it on different pages. Plus we have it on YouTube now, and I did have it on Apple and Spotify, but that really didn't work out. I'm dealing with Apple is a pain. And also I had a radio station that just didn't get traction, and part of it was that radio station I wanted to do, community radio, was based on what you're trying to do here. Yeah. It just really takes time for it to become part of the routine of most people. And it's so I hope you got some endurance.
Well, we're figuring that it'll take probably a year for it to be in the black and to start making some money.
Well, and if it's not, you might want to consider a second year, if your finances will allow that. But because it is going to take some time. But right now, you guys said 23 locations. My bet is, particularly when the ads start coming in a little bit more, you're going to have more people willing to distribute it for you. Because if there are ads in it, they want people to have it. Right? Yeah. Right. So, that kind of thing. Josh, let's talk about next step, and then I'm going to let Rod finish this off here. It's the diaper drive here, so to speak. So if you need diapers, are you familiar with Next Step Women's Center?
I actually just got a card from them.
From Megan or Summer?
Megan, I think.
Short little Megan?
Megan.
Yeah. I make fun of her. She's a former student of mine. And anyway, they're giving away diapers. So make an appointment. It starts today, all this week, 9 through 13. So come on by, call them at 817-295-4101. You need to really let them know you're coming so you have appointments, because if you just rush them all at once, they're not going to be able to help you. So these are for parents of children during pregnancy to under 3 years old, and they gave away 196,000 diapers last year. That'd be a good story.
That's a story right
there. That's a darn good story. I promise you get Summer and Megan, they'll be all over this. And so, all the nonprofits. It was Kelly over at Harvest House, Next Step Women's Center I've just mentioned. Also, Crazy 8 you've mentioned. Also, we have Wings of Hope, which is an ecotherapy group that love the publicity. We have House of Hope here in Crowley, and they just Elizabeth Becker just retired last week, so I don't know who to talk to now. Also promises community over at First Baptist. I mean, you got that's a whole avenue right there, and I don't know if it's going to, it may help with the advertising. That's the way I want to put it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a lot of content. They'll be more than glad to give you time for that. And same with Melissa and Candace. They'll be more than glad to be right there on the front page or whatever. I think there are a lot of people who want to have their name of their business or organization out in public.
Yeah.
So you have a field to plow, so to speak. And so I just hope you got the time and energy to get to them all.
Yeah. Talking about the field to plow, it'd be nice to have a horse in the plow.
Yeah. Well, I won't be there Wednesday because of things about to get to in a minute, but you got to go back to the BNI meeting. And if you want to, and you'll also they'll be glad to talk to you about BNI and their networking group. And there's other networking groups as well. There's one here on Friday that Jonathan does. It's a big deal. And there's another one that meets more or less at the same time. And then, so Burleson has a lot of activity going on in the nonprofit and public service areas, a bunch, more than most communities. Oh, how can I forget the Center for ASD, Lisa Boltinghouse? So you know that outfit.
I actually just did a story on them.
Okay.
2 weeks ago. I think
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
So yeah, so you know all about it.
Nice facility.
Yes, it is.
My only issue with it is you can't find it. It's in the back of which church?
Yeah,
is it?
well, it used to be Crestmont Baptist. Now it was the building has been sold to another church that has a different name now. I'm afraid I don't recall it, but it's at the same building. If you just said at the old Crestmont building, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And
It's a beautiful facility though, and lots of room. I was very impressed with it. Very nice.
All right. So give us about 3 minutes or so what you want us to know about the Burleson News Express.
Burleson News Express is our community paper. It's something that we want to bring the community together. We want to share the things that are made of memories, memory makers. The things of putting the scraps in the scrapbook, putting the oh wow, did I really look like that when I when I was in high school? I've got the clip that that shows that. I've got people looking at their history, their past, and seeing that that's where they were and that's who they were with. And you know, there's something that you can't buy or sell about seeing that clipping that Mom had on the refrigerator.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
20 years.
Oh yeah, for plain old Star Courier. When I used to be a paper boy. It was 5 days a week, and I used to dread Wednesday because that's when all the ads came out, and and so the paper's big.
And it's like were you 4 o'clock in the morning?
Here's somebody you need to talk to, Rich Hooper. You know who Rich Hooper is. He runs the radio station down at King.
Doesn't he do 88.3 The Journey?
88.3 The Journey is correct. There he is. And there's the ad.
Hi, Rich.
I'll be at
How you
network
doing?
at night tomorrow, and we'll follow up with him about a partnership with 88.3 The Journey. He's a good man. He does good work. And he's been on the show, too, at least twice I know of, and I'm sure I'll have him again next time they have one of their fundraising weeks, which is always a good thing. You know, and my wife loves her station.
By the way,
I'm still stuck with Ted Nugent. I'm sorry.
Oh, here you go. I listen to you some too. So
there you go.
The Journey.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. See, it pays to be on Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Look at that. You know, you already got a contact.
I've made big time if I'm on Mr. Allard's Neighborhood.
Yeah, well, I like to think so. As far as the programming, I was going to have the Burleson Opportunity Fund on tomorrow with Sam Ross and one of our other board members, but I don't like to talk about personal stuff too much, but my mother's in the hospital, and she went there last night, and so I need to be in Dallas the next 3 days. She's having surgery, so I won't be on the air tomorrow or rest this week because I'm just between that and trying to maintain my DBU schedule. Something I had to give.
Yeah.
And so I won't be at the BNI meeting either or a BOF meeting. I just, and nobody's critical about that. It's your mother, right?
Right.
And she's at that age. You probably don't know. I lost my father about 7 months ago. And
I'm sorry.
Well, he was 87. And so it's sad, but it's not like it was time. That's only way I could put it.
Doesn't make it any easier.
No, not really. No, but at least it's not some tragic accident or whatever. Thank you, Aaron. We'll be praying for my mother, he says. That's a very kind thing. Aaron is a gentleman over in Cleveland who's a fairly regular listener.
How you doing, Aaron? Good to meet you.
So, I'm having this will be the only show for the week. Thank you, Rich. My mom is not in danger, but she needs the surgery to keep moving forward. If she didn't get it, she would be in danger. It's that kind of thing. And then, Josh, aren't y'all gone next week?
Yeah.
We'll probably try to run. Yeah, you're going to Nashville, right?
That's correct.
That'd be fun. Taylor's not making you pay your own way, is he?
No. We got everything comped.
Okay.
That's even better.
That's even better,
Exactly.
right? Who's doing the comping, big timer?
It's a good question.
Okay, fine. You just Taylor handles it, right? Well, in any way, we could probably run a couple of reruns. We could rerun this.
Hey.
Do you think you can schedule this for Friday or something like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
This Friday? Or
yeah.
Friday next week?
No, this coming Friday.
Yeah, we'll get it going.
Yeah. So we can rerun the show again. That's the value of having a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Because I've done that before when either some other circumstance made it. We've had 3 or 4 times Facebook has been uncooperative, but that's over